The episode begins with Tamayo and Yushiro. Yushiro is cleaning books on the first floor of their house when he gets a strange feeling. At that moment, a crow from Master Yubayashiki arrives at Tamayo's place. The crow informs Tamayo about a girl in the Demon Slayer Corps who is researching demon bodies. Here, the crow is referring to Shinobu. The crow further suggests that Tamayo and the others should look after Nezuko together so they can defeat Muzan. For this, the crow invites Tamayo to stay at the Yubayashiki mansion. Hearing this, Tamayo is taken aback. After the crow leaves, Yushiro rushes to Tamayo and tells her that all their preparations to leave are complete, but Tamayo refuses. Tamayo looks out the window and says that now that Nezuko can go out in the sunlight, a significant change has begun, and perhaps this change started long ago. Next, we see a scene in Tamayo's memories where both Tamayo and Muzan are standing in front of Yorichi. Seeing Yorichi reminds Tamayo of Tanjiro. Tamayo tells Yushiro that they are moving now but going elsewhere. She will explain all the research results to him and ask for his help in the research. She mentions that this might be their last move. Hearing this, Yushiro is also shocked. Tamayo tells Yushiro that they are now going to meet Yubayashiki at the Demon Slayer Corps headquarters. In the next scene, Tanjiro receives a letter from Yubayashiki, in which Master Yubayashiki says, "I hope you are well. I wanted to meet and talk to you myself, but due to my health, I cannot go anywhere. This is a very precious time, and we need to work together. Can you meet Giyu in my place and talk to him? Giyu always lags behind. Can you help Giyu move forward?" Reading Yubayashiki's letter, Tanjiro starts thinking about Giyu and decides to meet him. The next morning, Tanjiro sets out to meet Giyu. We see that Tanjiro's leg is still not healed. He first meets Aoi, who asks if he is going for Hashira training. Tanjiro replies, "No, but I need to meet someone." Tanjiro asks Aoi how to convince someone who always stays alone that they are not alone. Aoi says she doesn't know much about this, and if she were in that person's place, she would prefer to stay alone. Aoi then tells Tanjiro to wait for a while and goes to get something. Tanjiro thinks it will be very difficult to talk to Giyu. Aoi returns and gives Tanjiro a packed meal, saying that the food is for him and the person he is going to meet. She advises that whatever happens, he should eat properly to keep his body and mind healthy. Tanjiro thanks Aoi and heads to Giyu's house. In the next scene, we see Giyu at his home, sitting peacefully. But then, he hears Tanjiro's voice asking for permission to enter the house. Giyu thinks Tanjiro will shout for a while and then leave, but Tanjiro enters the house, surprising Giyu. Tanjiro and Giyu start talking. Tanjiro tells Giyu that all the Hashira have started their training. Giyu says he already knew about it. Tanjiro mentions that in 7 days, he will also get permission to start training and asks if Giyu will teach him something. Giyu flatly refuses. Tanjiro asks why, sensing that Giyu is angry. Giyu replies that he is angry because Tanjiro has not yet mastered water breathing and that he needs to become a water Hashira. Tanjiro apologizes and says he has talked to Urokodaki, who mentioned that changing breathing styles or creating a new style through an existing one is quite common because water breathing is very close to the basic breathing styles. Giyu responds that he did not mean it that way and that Tanjiro must become a water Hashira as soon as possible. "Because we don't have any other water Hashira," says Giyu. Tanjiro responds, "But you are a water Hashira, aren't you?" Giyu replies, "I am not a water Hashira," and then walks away. Tanjiro recalls Master Yubayashiki's words and decides to stay with Giyu. He leaves food outside Giyu's room and steps out. As night falls, Giyu comes outside and finds Tanjiro asleep nearby. Seeing Giyu, Tanjiro is happy and says, "Good, you ate the food." Tanjiro then starts following Giyu day and night, which greatly irritates Giyu. Eventually, Giyu thinks if he talks to Tanjiro once, he might leave him alone. Giyu begins to tell Tanjiro his story. "I didn't pass the final selection. There was another boy like me whose family was killed by a demon. His name was Sabito. We both took the final selection together at the age of 13. Because we were both alone, we quickly became friends. Sabito was very strong and kind, with a great sense of justice. That year, only Sabito died in the selection. Sabito easily killed all the demons in that selection, ensuring everyone else passed. But in the beginning, I got injured, and Sabito saved me. We learned that Sabito was also a water-breathing style demon slayer. Later, Sabito heard another boy calling for help and went to help him while I fell unconscious. I woke up 7 days later when the final selection was over. I hadn't killed a single demon but still passed because I somehow survived. I am not worthy of being a water Hashira. I am not as brave as the others. I don't belong in the Demon Slayer Corps, and you shouldn't waste your time on me. Giyu walks away. Hearing Giyu's story, Tanjiro thinks, I can understand the pain of losing someone. You must be thinking it would have been better if you had died instead of Sabito, especially when they died saving you. That feeling is horrible. Tears well up in Tanjiro's eyes. He continues thinking, Sabito was the boy who trained me on the mountains. It feels strange knowing that the one who trained me is no longer alive. If Sabito hadn't died during the final selection, he would have been Giyu's age now. He helped everyone during the selection, but I was only trying to save myself. If Sabito were alive, he would have become a great swordsman, and that's why Giyu probably thinks it would have been better if he had died instead of Sabito. I understand this feeling because I felt the same when Rengoku sacrificed himself to save us. He was the strongest at that time, and I thought it would have been better if I had died instead of him. Maybe Rengoku would have succeeded in defeating Muzan one day. But then Inosuke made me understand that I shouldn't think like that. Tanjiro thinks, I should also make Giyu understand, but what should I say? Giyu must have faced many challenges during his journey, which made him strong, and that's why he is a Hashira today. I don't know what to say to Giyu, but I will definitely tell him one thing. Tanjiro then says to Giyu, don't you think you should fulfill the responsibility that Sabito entrusted to you? Hearing this, Giyu stops. He recalls Sabito slapping him and saying, don't ever talk about dying again, or our friendship will end. Your sister was supposed to get married the next day, but she sacrificed her life to save you from a demon. You should not waste her sacrifice. She gave her life for yours, so you must live. In the present, Giyu touches his cheek, remembering Sabito's slap. In the end, Giyu thinks, how could I ever forget all that? He reflects further, I wanted to keep those memories away because whenever I remembered them, I couldn't stop my tears. Remembering them made me so sad that I didn't feel like doing anything. Then, Giyu apologizes to his sister and Sabito. Seeing Giyu so serious, Tanjiro wonders if he said something wrong. He thinks, Giyu was already very troubled. Did I just rub salt in his wound? Tanjiro then gets an idea, maybe if we have a food eating contest, Giyu might feel a bit better and might help train me. Giyu doesn't talk much anyway, so an eating competition would be the best thing for us. Lost in his thoughts, Tanjiro is startled when Giyu says, Tanjiro, forgive me. I will definitely participate in the training. But before he can finish, Tanjiro interrupts and says, let's have a food eating contest. Hearing this, Giyu is surprised and wonders where that came from. They start the eating contest. Giyu asks Tanjiro if he has seen Shinobu and what she is doing. Tanjiro has no idea. In the next scene, we see Shinobu trying to calm herself but not succeeding very well, which makes her angry. Just then, Kanao arrives and says, I'm going to the Wind Hashira's training. Can I do your training after the Stone Hashira's training? Shinobu replies that she isn't participating in the Hashira training this time. Hearing this, Kanao becomes worried. Seeing her concern, Shinobu calls her over. Kanao says, I wanted to train more with you, master. Shinobu smiles and says, Kanao, you are expressing yourself much more than before. This is the right time. I want to tell you how we can defeat the demon who killed my sister, Kanae. And with this, the episode ends.